Guillaume, we are live in the property entrepreneurs community. Very, very welcome to the Hall of Fame. So today, guys, I've got a very, very special guest. We are speaking to an award winner, no other than Property Entrepreneur of the Year 2021, Mr. Guillaume Black. And what we're going to be diving into this session today, and what we're going to welcome Guillaume to the Hall of Fame, is because most people look back on the year and they had a pretty underwhelming year. They may have changed a few things. They may have made a little bit more money. They may have done a few bits of health and fitness or some health goals, but generally they'll look back and it was like, it was a small incremental change as opposed to a radical step change. Guillaume didn't do this. He joined us on Property Entrepreneur around a year ago. He came in and he knew that he wanted to fundamentally change his life. And he's had the most game-changing year. He looks back on his year now and he can't even recognize who he was or what he was doing only around 12 months ago. He now lives a life by design. There's still more work to do, but as a result of all that hard work and those game-changing, life-changing experiences, he step changed his life, step changed his business, and as a result, all that hard work culminated in him being awarded Property Entrepreneur of the Year 2021. So we're going to deep dive into that journey now. So very, very, very warm welcome, Guillaume, to the Hall of Fame. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Josh. Thank you very much for having me. It's my ultimate pleasure and honor to be here with you today. Thank you.
Yeah, good man. So first, and probably the most important question I've got for you today is: have you had your cold shower this morning?
Yes, yes, indeed, yeah. And I have for a while now. Yeah.
So one of Guillaume's at the moment on the program, we're doing a handful of habits, and one of Guillaume's habits that he's adopted has been cold showers in the morning. And yeah, like how long have you been doing that for now?
So I've just started this September. So I think Andy sent me some videos on Wim Hof and like breathing exercise and so on. And I sort of surprised myself that I could hold my breath for 3 minutes plus and things like that, and say, oh, there's got to be something to it, And because I got into my running, this summer, as you know, and I wanted to improve a bit my time and looking at the benefits of cold exposure, and I've sort of been doing this since a couple of months now. It's been good to me, I think for blood displacement in the body and speed on the track kind of thing. So yeah, that's been good. That's been pretty good.
I didn't actually know you were doing it for running as well. I didn't know that was one of the kind of the drivers behind it. That's really interesting. I thought you were just doing it to kind of wake yourself up
for performance, but yeah. So it's not necessarily in the morning. It'd be whenever I have the shower. So it can be when I'm in the day or in the evening. I'll do it once a day to shake my cardiovascular system a bit. Yeah.
So before you came on the program over a year ago, and we're going to dive into that journey in a second. Could you imagine telling yourself in 12 months time, I'm going to be waking up and pumped about doing cold showers because I want to increase my running time?
I did joke about it last year because when obviously you go into a property entrepreneur and you are in a full room of amazing people, this is the home of high achievers, and the quality of the training is by the content, of course, but also by the quality of the people in the room. And I was looking around me, and I was sitting next to Jan, and he's like, "Oh, I'm running 70K a week, yeah." And then on the other side, I'm starting 75 hard, and it's like, "Oh, actually, I'm in the right room, And I used to joke, when they were unrolling people for 75 hours, I say, well, maybe next year, and maybe I'll take cold shower as well, And it's funny how a year down the line you've done all these things, in a way. So
thoughts become things. Choose the good ones,
absolutely,
as we always say.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you've chosen the good ones, and that will kind of reflect in your journey as we go through it. So just briefly, I've now given you a bit of an introduction, but just tell us who you are, what your company does, and how long you've actually been on the program for.
Yeah, so my name is Guillaume Black. I've been on the Property Entrepreneur since 1 year. And so I'm the owner, co-founder and CEO of Property Filter. We are a software company basically that empowers property investors and property entrepreneurs to excel at finding deals without the hassle and the sacrifice of their quality time. And we do this by funneling on the market residential leads to them to all our members on a regular basis, and then supporting them to take the necessary action to sculpt these into deals. And it's proven, it's unique, and it's disruptive, and it's changing the way people are investing in property. And a year ago, this did not exist. So I got we started and went through the form phase of the business in the first year of Property Entrepreneur. and it is what it is today, thanks to the program and the support of my peers on the program. Yeah.
So it's interesting that the business didn't exist 12 months ago. So one of the things we have quite a lot of property entrepreneur when people are considering whether or not to come on, sometimes they say, well, I don't have a business yet, or I'm not ready because my business hasn't been started yet. And it's like, well, don't go away, create a mess, and then join property entrepreneur. Join us from the start. We spend 3 months working on strategy to work out exactly what your business is going to look like. We design that business and we'll build it with you. And is that the journey you went through, or where were you before you got started?
A year ago, I was full-time, in 200% more than full-time employed, basically being very busy working. I was in a 10 years career in engineering, and actually I've got a very sort of traditional, I would say, culture or upbringing. So from coming from France, it's not a very entrepreneurial place. Basically, I did a master's degree in engineering, and all my alumni friends, they are all working for big companies. They're all like in this corporate world, and it's very. I don't know none of my friends is sort of self-employed, to this day, and it's quite different culture to here, and it's very much a case of do the best, study the best thing you can, get a job, and try to make your way through those big companies is sort of the culture. So I was 10 years I've only been working for this one company since I graduated, and I was quite happy at the beginning, and I had some really fulfilling, very fast growing career, and good opportunities as well, great support. But I was just I think where I was last year was probably that I've started to lose purpose a bit with the industry. It's not so much the company I was working for, but it's really the overall industry. My role had changed from operations to more sales and more political activities, which I didn't quite enjoy. And so I had a property business for 3 years. So we are doing some single lets, HMOs, and things like that, but not really something I could, what was sufficient to let's say cover my cost or quit my job. And so I was working full time, and I went into the autumn season looking for what I could do to sort of replace my cost and ultimately live not a life by default, but a life by design. And it's when I think at that time last year, we had some sessions with Daniel Priestley. So we are very deep into the journalings. I went through four of these journals in the last season. And we had a session, remember, with Daniel Priestley, and he talks about the mountain of value you're sitting on. And it was quite eye-opening for me to say, okay, everybody's unique, everybody's got something to bring to the marketplace. And actually, for our property business, we had a very ugly, clunky little software that were doing, some automation for our property business. And we decided, well, this is what's unique about us. We need to productize this, and offer it to the market because it's got huge value. And we went an inch wide and a mile deep into this, and we pushed this business through the form stage. So we incorporated in April and really built the assets for it to work for people. And we are just moving into storm at the moment.
So to summarize, you were working a job. You were kind of in a place where you'd done a bit of property, wanted to kind of go more deep into property, and you wanted to kind of have the confidence to finish that kind of corporate world, that corporate career, and you wanted that peer group, by the sounds of it, to kind of work with to just go for this and actually just live your life by design, which was creating this. You probably didn't know it was creating this business back then, did you? You was kind of just in a place where you knew you wanted to do something, you weren't sure what it was. You need that group and that environment to facilitate it.
I think something I didn't touch on is my health position maybe at the time. So really living a life by default and being talked around, by life. Basically, it was pretty much where I was. I was really going through the motions on everything. I was overweight. I was smoking. I was drinking quite a bit, and I think culturally I've always been drinking quite a bit, and really coming to a point where there was no purpose. I was a bit stuck in a way. Just living this corporate world, corporate life, like working very hard during the week and trying to have sort of too much of a drink in the weekends. Smoking regularly. I was like 2 stones more than I am today. I was barely doing any sports or any activity. just lacking a reason to wake up, happy and energized.
So obviously we know who you were now. So you were like, if you don't mind me saying, overweight, had probably more bad habits than good ones, smoking, drinking a lot, and you were working a corporate career that you weren't particularly enjoying, or you didn't feel enthralled by anymore. I like the phrase, by the way, life by default rather than life by design. We talk about being on property entrepreneur, having a life by design, actually designing the life you want. But I've never really heard the kind of concept, which I guess is where most people are, which is the life by default, which is what many people just fall into. They just fall into a job, fall into bad habits, fall into a routine that they don't particularly love, and it's about creating that life. So if we spring forward to where we are now, like a year on, and obviously having just one property entrepreneur of the year, what does life look like now for Guillaume? What are the kind of key changes that obviously you can see you've lost the 2 stone, but what else?
So everything is much more intentional, and there's a purpose to everything. So on property entrepreneur, you talk about the big values, and the drivers are health, wealth, and life by design. And if I look at health, so I don't smoke anymore. I'm 3 times more active. If we think in terms of steps, I barely drink anymore. I've lost 12 kilos, to more than 2 stones, a bit more than 2 stones. My cholesterol has gone down like 20% or something like that. I didn't do any exercise or running, and this summer I went through a bit of a coach to half marathon sort of program, and now I'm running 40K per week, which is, and a year ago I couldn't run 4 kilometers in a row,
Did you say couch to half marathon?
Yeah. I properly laced my shoes in July, and I did a 1 hour 45 half marathon in a month
Bloody
ago.
hell! I thought you meant couch to 5K, couch to half marathon. Fair play to you. So you've done a half marathon now.
I didn't even plan for this. It's just you are in this. You are energized. You are in this. In this momentum. The flywheel is going, and I didn't plan to lose weight. Last year I did write in my journal that it'd be a good goal to have, but I wasn't on a diet. I just lived a more purposeful and driven life. So it's not like I've not been on a diet all year and suffered all year. It's just I was more mindful of what I wanted in my life, and naturally things changed.
Well, generally, when you start replacing bad habits with good ones, you don't necessarily need a diet. When you rather than sitting on the sofa eating a bag of crisps or drinking a bottle of wine, when you start doing a 5K run instead, like, your weight will naturally take care of itself, won't it? So it's brilliant to hear. What about your businesses? So health you've nailed. And then from a kind of wealth perspective, or what you're building now with all your different companies, talk us through that.
So from wealth, I talked about the property portfolio, which was a modest size, and now we've tripled the size of this portfolio. So I work with Andy Ellard on the property aspects, and actually I focused my summer last year on finding on deals and finance basically, and we've now got things in the pipeline, and going through planning or going through conveyancing, which will double the size of the portfolio. So that was a big focus of the summer. And then,
how did you? Do you mind me just asking, Guillaume? How did you meet Andy? Was it on the program? Was it?
I knew Andy since a couple of years. We've done
great.
My first HMO together with him. So he's obviously quite experienced in this. He's a bit of the HMO expert in Birmingham. So I got close to him through some other program, and meeting him through networking. And I've known him for a couple of years before we started, but we really cemented our relationship on the program, and obviously he's also a high achiever, and it's been very good to keep each other accountable, because the 2 of us were together on the program. So I'd say to someone who is looking at some point at joining, doing the blueprint or something, I'd encourage you to do with your better half or a business partner, because it's such a high-paced journey. You would leave all the other people in your life to dust. So you'd want to share this with someone, because, and I'm so grateful we did this together with Andy, because we were, fast paced and, high achieving, through the program, basically the homework, the content, going through this together with the same intention to really smash it. So,
and you guys, just to add to that, success and failure both very predictable. You and Andy you're at every session, like with your journals put down, you like literally do all the 28-day challenges, you execute on everything we tell you to do. And also you're on midweek mentoring every single week, you're asking questions, you're engaged, like you're absolutely all over it. So it's no surprise that both of you have just done incredibly well this year. So I didn't realize you tripled your portfolio as well. So not only have you started this new business that you're obviously very passionate about, you've tripled the size of your portfolio.
Yeah.
And you've got yourself in the best shape of your life and ran a half marathon. So that's incredible. And I think just to reiterate what I said earlier, if somebody had done one of those things in a year, like if somebody came to you and said, right, I've lost 2 stone this year, you'd be like, wow, that's such an amazing work. If someone said to you, I've run half a marathon this year and I couldn't run before, you go, wow. Somebody said I tripled my portfolio, you go, wow. Somebody said I'd started a new business that I absolutely love and it's about to be launched out to the market and go crazy, you'd go, wow. Either of these things in their own kind of independent element, you would have gone, oh, that's amazing. Like what an achievement. Like if it was your son or your daughter came and you said that, you go, I'm so proud of you. Look what they've done this year. To have done all of those things, and you've only scratched the surface as well, because I know there's so many more things you've done. You quit smoking. I don't know if you mentioned that. You quit smoking. There's so many things you've done. You don't really drink alcohol anymore. All these things, like together, like you must look back on your life and you can't possibly see like what it looked like before. So it's like that's why you won the award this year. That's why you were voted to win Profit Entrepreneur of the Year, and it's very well deserved. What I'd love to dive into now, if it's okay with you, and just understand is obviously in achieving that journey, like nothing's ever easy. So what were the kind of challenges you had along the way? What were the kind of if you can do like 2 or 3 challenges along the way that you really struggled with that's going to help people that want to achieve something similar to you?
Yeah, I think a big thing for me was to really rewire my brain. So it'd be to anybody which is in a corporate position, this would probably resonate. But I felt like you tell yourself things and you tell yourself stories and lies. Basically, I couldn't think I could switch to entrepreneurship, to being self-employed. I always wanted to do, and I was always saying, yeah, I'll do it later. But it's really after digging really deep, going quite deep in the journaling, that I realized that I had a lot of cemented limiting beliefs that go back years and years, and I was living in fear, that fear that I would of insecurity, fear that I would miss, of lacking, money and income, and all these fears and all these walls I've built myself. I've unwalled myself in many years. And it took me quite a bit of journaling to unpick, and I'd say the number one skill I learned and the most significant return I got from it was this skill of sitting down regularly and journaling, and that's really changed my life. So that's the first steps in the program, digging deep in there and challenging your assumptions, challenging your beliefs, and for me it was quite a big thing to deconstruct this and go on the other side of fear, basically.
How do you do that though in practice? Because it's very easy for you to say, "Oh, right, okay, well that was my biggest challenge," is basically deconstructing, like not living in a place of fear and going, right, well, I don't know, I'm scared of being self-employed, so I need to go and do it. The reality is, it's like there's one thing in your mind going, no, I should just do it. How do you actually execute against it? How does somebody that's sitting here in a corporate job that wants to achieve what you've achieved actually do this in practice? Because it's not easy to overcome, particularly if you've got a family, a mortgage, and all these things on the line.
Yeah, I think it's for me it's been a very personal sort of journey, and you give us all the exercise, the titles, and how to do the cave times and the journaling, and I've just gone and execute it, and every exercise you revisit, and I discovered journaling as a consciousness enhancer, like because you put your thoughts down in sort of a glorified piece of paper, which is a posh journal, and you're quite careful what you write. You try to write it neatly and so on, because it's your journal. You cherish it a little bit, and then when you put your thoughts down here, you're then able to audit your thoughts, and you think at a different level of consciousness, and then you can add layers and layers on this, because you then layer, at this level you write against something, then you audit this layer and you write against something, and you go quite deep. And to be fair, I'm not more brilliant than anybody else. I just executed on the cave time exercise you gave us, and it's just about if anything, if you can find 1 hour a day to execute on the PE methodology, it will change your life. That's as simple as that.
I think something you 100% did, and we talk about this quite a lot about leaving your ego at the door, is your plan that you executed was 100% what you actually wanted to achieve. Like I think you can tell how deep you went on this journey. You kept going deeper and deeper and deeper, and you got to a level where you're like, no, this is what I want to do. And then it was actually quite easy for you to go out and execute against it because you really wanted it. It's actually really easy to execute against anything we actually really want, as long as it's considered, it's strategic and we know how we're going to approach it. If you truly want something, you'll go out and do it. If you just like, oh, I think that's what I want, or my mate's doing something similar, so I might do the same thing, generally it never kind of particularly pans out. So that's really powerful. So the first one is like actually first biggest challenge was like actually rewiring your brain. That's very powerful. What's your next biggest challenge or biggest problem you had to face along the journey?
So again, it's in the similar sort of theme. It was for me moving from chaos to clarity. So being a bit overwhelmed, like because I'm working a full-time job, I'd like to execute on the methodology. I don't feel I have the time, or I tell myself I don't have the time. And it's another type of journaling exercise going into planning, planning your life. So what do you want in 5 years, in five years time, and what do you want? What does it mean in this year? And then planning all of this. So it took me. It's quite a skill actually. I had to learn to do my 90 days plans, 12 weeks plans, and following each of the seasons. What do I want to achieve in 5 years? What do I want to achieve then in 1 year? And what does it mean in 90 days? And therefore in the months, and then following the top 10 Sunday sanity, for what's a successful week, and just planning all of these things. It took me quite a while to get into these habits, and then you've got absolute clarity. And it's exactly what you were saying. A year ago, I would say, yeah, I want to do property, I want to do this, and you talk about things, but you're not really committed. There is no substance to it. And now because you write it down, you've got I've got forecast, financial forecast of all my businesses, and I've got so much clarity on everything. Everything it becomes predictable. Dan says success and failure are very predictable, but you realize in practice, on the program or through this is, there's no secret. They give you all the time. You give us all the secrets, and we just need to follow it.
Yeah, one of the things you've just talked about there, though, you kind of said it in quite a laissez-faire, kind of relaxed way, because you probably we take it for granted. Like we take the way we operate and the way we do things for granted. For us, we know we set what we want. We set our targets, our objectives, our personal and professional objectives for the year. We then break those down into activity based on the season. So summer we do sales, spring we do recruitment, winter we do systems, autumn we do strategy. And then we break that 90 days down into a monthly plan. And then to execute on the monthly plan, we have a weekly to-do list, which is our Sunday sanity, which is 10 things you do every week. So what you've said there is it is the only way to do business. And it's like, I've been in it for years, Dan's been doing it for years, Alan's been doing it for years, everyone on Entrepreneur, this is how we do business. And that is how you execute against what you say you're going to do. Too many people say, I'm going to do this in the next year. But then unless you find the way to break it down, it's that concept of, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And basically the bite at a time is a line on Sunday sanity. So 10 things every single week. And that's how you get there. So although you've had challenges putting that in place, I think everyone does. Obviously the results, the juice has been worth the squeeze, hasn't it? Like, could you imagine now not working like that?
There's no way, but, because I'd be going through the motions of something else, again. So
yeah, if you've ever had one of those weeks where you don't do Sunday sanity and you kind of forget to do it or you run out of time, like your head just feels like it's going to explode, doesn't it? It feels exactly going to explode. It's like, it's these small things that give you that absolute clarity that you're talking about. So that's an amazing one. I think there's too many people running around struggling to get the clarity that they're looking for. A third and final problem that you say you've overcome?
So I've not quite fully nailed it yet, but because I've got the property portfolio, the things I'm working with Andy, and then there's the software business on the side. It's managing the balance between the two and sort of the distribution of focus. So I set some intents, following the 70-20-10, distribution of focus, and with the different business, like operations, management, the business development. And I set my weekly, intent like this, but I find at the beginning, it was quite difficult to. So at the beginning, I thought, oh yeah, with the job off, I moved from having 3 things to 2 things, gonna be great. And now I've got those 2 things, and I still need to find a good balance. And I find that what helped me is the seasons. So the seasons and the business cycles. So I've got one business which is going to norm. So the property business is moving to norm, and the property filter, the software business, is moving from storm to from form to storm. And I find understanding where those businesses are and which season we are in, I would focus more on one aspect or one business or another, and it sort of works much better. So it's the combination of the 4 seasons and the different problems we solve on the PE methodology, together with which stage this business is, and then I would shift my distribution of focus, my 70 and my 20, from one business to another on a sort of monthly, quarterly basis. And I've not fully nailed it, but I think I'm getting there with this model.
I don't know if anybody fully nails how they allocate their time. It's like one of those ongoing challenges. I'm in a place where I'm heavily leveraged. So I've got teams of people, multiple businesses, but I still sometimes get pulled in, or I still don't quite manage it as well as I'd like to. What you're talking about there is a phenomenal kind of learning for anybody listening or tuning in. It's like, so distribution of focus. So just talk through distribution of focus. What's that?
So it's this concept you introduced to us on the blueprint, and then we go a bit deeper in the program. It's you can only do one thing really, or one thing well, but you could do a bit more than one thing if you distribute against 70%, 20%, and 10%. So for example, this month I'm 70% on focus on property filter, putting it out. 20% is in the OP, and that's the business development of property filter. I've got a team who is doing the operation side and the development side, and then 20% of my time is on the operation side of my property business with Andy. So it's pushing things through planning, and we have not quite started projects yet. We're not looking for deals now because the pipeline is full, but it's pushing these deals over the line in terms of planning, getting all the consultants and everything on board so that we can start. And then when we move into when we get basically planning for those sites, I probably reduce a bit my time on property filter and let kick start all the sites, and then managing this and using this 70, 20, 10, and then the 10 will be more my journaling, my cave time, and all the PE content and the seasonality of the autumn, and all basically the journaling and the life by design that we are doing now in this season.
So it's basically been really strategic with your time. So saying 70%, 3.5 days of your week are going to be used for a specific thing based on what's going on with that thing at the moment. 1 day is going to be used on something else. So the management of something, the half day is going to be used elsewhere. And it's this concept of you can either launch one rocket into space or fly 10 kites around your garden. It's like, what are you going to do? And with property filter, like, that is a rocket that you need to take off. So it's focusing that 70% of the time in it. So once again, time allocation, time distribution, one of your challenges to get there. You've obviously definitely fine-tuned that, got that down to a fine art. But I think that's an ongoing battle, isn't it? Which we all kind of deal with all day, every day, because it's the only resource which you can't get more of. So for anyone listening to this that wants to have a similar journey to you, that's basically sitting here now, maybe they've got a stone of weight they want to lose, they like the idea of being fit and healthy, but they've never managed to do it over the last 3 to 5 years. They're working a corporate job, quite interested in starting a new business that they're passionate about, excited about, want to go how to level triple their portfolio. Can we go for a few top tips you'd give them? So we'll do 3 top tips if that's okay with you. Yeah. What would tip number 1?
So for someone in a corporate job and wanting to make the switch, I'd say it's probably easier to manage your costs and expenses out of the day job and manage your lifestyle basically out of a day job rather than build your portfolio out of a day job. I think a big thing for me was to understand that I could be as happy and without the level of expenses and overheads I had before. And this really was one of the things I deconstructed this time last year. So, well, I can actually leave my job because I don't have to spend all these things here. My costs are not that high, and I think anybody can can reduce their life slightly to allocate more time into their new business and venture. Because there is this myth, you know, that you'd go out in property and get to rent and match your current salary or match your costs. But it works both ways. It's how much you make and how much you keep, basically. And that's I think that's one of the tipping points last year that allowed me to, you know, I decided in Christmas basically last year, but it was at that point.
So just so I can understand, it was what you're telling people is, if you're sitting there with a job now and you think, in order for me to quit this, so say my salary is 50 grand in my job, and I'm like, no, like I need to earn 50 grand for property before I can quit. That's quite a difficult battle. But what you're saying is, if you can reduce your overheads, if you can get rid of that lease car that you don't really need, if you can take away, you know, rather than pay £100 for a gym membership each month, join Pure Gym, pay £20, get rid of the Amex that costs you 100 grand a year and £100 a year, and all those different things, that you may find that you only actually need to go out and get 20 grand's worth of income, which is far more obtainable to cover your basic needs. And then once you've got that covered, you can quit your job and then you can go more hell for leather. Is that correct?
And it's this, exactly. When you do this walk the line exercise, you know, you teach us about, you go through your statements in the last 3-6 months, and then you say, okay, what can I remove? What can be a business expenses? And, you know, what can I minimize or negotiate, you know? And you realize that your money is, you know, like sort of leaving your pockets all the time, you know, and you're not in control of it, but you can really reduce, you know, this by just doing this exercise. And all of a sudden you don't need that income, you know, to sustain you, even, and that's even without changing your lifestyle. It's just your old sofa insurance or this whatever app you've had for years and not using it, you know, and it's getting rid of all these things, and then everything you can put through the business, and all of a sudden you don't need as much income as you think you need, and it's really doing this exercise and being more you know, purposeful and you know, intentional, and all of a sudden you understand that you know, you can switch.
I love this. Like being more purposeful and intentional seems to be quite a lot. That's kind of seems to be like a bit of a running theme that's coming out of everything that you've done over the last year. Okay, top tip number 2.
Yeah, so I think Dan alludes to this. You know, the blueprint is on you. You know, property entrepreneurs will deliver the blueprint. There's a workshop per month. There's a Facebook community and so on. And there's other things, of course, but it's really on you to execute. And I think it's a big thing for me has been a 3-level execution. So first is understand that my body is the machine who is going to deliver on things. So it's setting up this AAA game, so getting to the shape of our life. So no, not even to that point, but the good habits, so you know, steps, sleeps, hydration, and things like that. So and then you deliver, you are energized. And when your body, the machine who is going to deliver, is energized and is not, you know, this sluggish life by default, you know, animal I was, you know, and you are all of a sudden energized and very active, you can now be. The second level is in the planning. So we talked about this, you know, the 90 days plan for every season, the monthly activities, and then the weekly top 10s, and you can go deeper into your daily top 3s and things like that. You know what you need to do on a daily basis. You wake up energized. You know what's for you. And then it's the execution. Is the third level is the relentless execution. You know, you've planned it. You know, it's like with the running. You know, you've put your interval sessions in the calendar. You know, they are hard, but you just need to go and do it. You know, and then it's inevitable that the success will come, and the compound effects of all of this is massive.
I get it. So what you're saying is, I think that Dan sometimes says this, like the blueprint's on us, execution is on you. Like we'll give you the blueprint, we'll tell you exactly how to do this in practice. All you got to go and do is execute, and execution is everything. And like I would agree, like this year, you've just executed. We've told you what to do. You've gone out and smashed out of the park, and as a result, the results are absolutely amazing. Top tip number 3, final top tip.
I'd say you only compete with yourself, and I think it's always been a big thing for me. I always liked the personal growth and things like that, and I always like this. I heard this, I think, from Benjamin Hardy a couple of years ago. You sort of you want to be embarrassed by who you were 12 months ago, and actually that's you are your own baseline, and only competing with yourself, and you are so much more happier, you know, by seeing how much you've grown, or you know, how better of a person you are, than wasting your time comparing with others. And there's so many levels of this, and I'm quite fortunate. I've never been into cars or toys or things like that, you know. But I know some people are, and I can see how a burden this comparison can be, you know. And it's such a waste of energy. And I am so grateful for the success of everybody around me, and you know, and you are always in this abundance and positive mindset all the time, that you know, you just attract more of it, you know. So, and just try to improve yourself, be a better person, sort of every day, and be your own baseline, basically. And you know, it's just, and then everything is linked, you know, everything comes together. Your happiness, your daily joys, and all of this comes together, and you grow, you know, and it becomes very predictable indeed. Yeah.
It's so hard to leave ego at the door, create a life by design, not by comparison, and feel genuinely happy when other people achieve things around you. And I think you 100% embody that, and I've definitely seen that from you. I guess that tip is basically saying to people, if you want to be truly happy, if you want to be truly successful, design your own life that you actually want, and design it without your ego. Do you actually want that car, or are you buying it because you want to show to other people you've got that specific car, for example? And I think that's a struggle that a lot of people wrestle with. I personally do wrestle with it, like 100% wrestle with that ego element, or that concept of you see someone do well and you go, oh, that bastard, like, you know, how's he done that? Like, you feel a bit jealous, as opposed to just thinking, good for them. Like that's an amazing thing to do. And I think it's definitely something that I think as you get a bit older, you get a bit better at. And I'm still definitely on that journey myself, like catching myself saying, like, feeling jealous or feeling a bit, oh, well, I should have done that, when the reaction should be, congratulations, like, you've done an incredibly well. You should genuinely feel happy for people. But I think we could talk about this all day. It's a deeper subject, but having true compassion and living your own life are sources of happiness and joy. And I think if we boil everything down to what you've achieved over the last year, you seem to me, like, knowing you on a personal and a professional level, like a very contented, joyful, happy human being. Is that, would you agree with that?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and so much more since 1 year. Yeah, and the journaling is such a life changer, you know, like, because you put things down, you put what are your beliefs, and then you say, oh, this is who's wrote this? Is it me or my ego? And you sort of challenge everything all the time, and it almost becomes a game, you know, when you. And I feel very privileged that I've had this, you know, this sort of declic, you know, this you know, I got switched on by this, and I know it's, you know, you don't know what you don't know, and some people might not know the difference between what they say and their ego. And I certainly came from a place like this, where I had a big ego some years ago, and I feel very privileged that I know that there is the two persons, and you know, these two entities, and it's almost like a game now in my journaling. So who says that? Is it you or is it your ego? You know, and you sort of play with this, and it's a bit of an awakening, you know, with this journaling, and as you said, you know, it's a bit like your business, you know. It's you know, with your personal with yourself, you know, something is always to improve, something's always broken, and it's never finished, you know. So you continually improve it, and and I'm so grateful for the journaling skills I got, because all of this changed my life really, from last year.
Amazing, Guillaume. Thank you very much for that. Like, welcome to the Hall of Fame. It's 100% truly deserved. I'm so proud of you. So happy you won Property Entrepreneur of the Year 2021. You're now on advanced, and I can see you probably donning the stage next year as well, even against high levels of competition.
It's a different level.
A different level, yeah, 100%. But at the same time, it's all about just life by design. So if you genuinely set what you want to do and you go out and achieve it, that's how you get on the stage. So
exactly, and I think there's no. And again, with this ego thing, you know, you won when you won for yourself, you know. So
yeah, man, you didn't need the award; you'd already won. like that's the beauty about the award winners at Property Entrepreneur. The people that have won the award have already won because they've created this amazing life for themselves that they genuinely wanted. So the award is just a formality. So yeah, congratulations and really well done. You can't even, well, I can't recognize you. The man I met 12 months ago is not the man that's sitting in front of me today. You fundamentally step change your business. You stepped change your life. You've achieved more success in the last 12 months that anyone would have hoped to have achieved in the last 12 years in all of the different areas in your life, your business, your health, your weight loss, no alcohol, quit smoking, doing the business you love, stop doing consultancy work. Like all of these things on their own are amazing, but together they're actually like truly remarkable. So this will go down in the history books. Welcome to the Hall of Fame. Congratulations and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Josh. My pleasure.
Cheers. Thank you, Guillaume.